house of light. May wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, spies. It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth a sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, spies.
Greetings in Lakesh. Welcome to another Sync Talk, Synchronistic Talk on this fine plasma. We also call Plasma Day. This is a great time to talk about exploring the promised land. My name is Neb Taharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and chancellor of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. I do a myriad of coaching initiatives as well as teaching initiatives in the space of the law of time and nature and whole mind concepts that we formulate the universe from within. Mastery of self. And so I'm delighted to be here today because I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about some of the key things that need to take place to override some of the limiting programs that have us kind of marking time or moving very sluggishly through this process of evolution or carrying out our purpose or carrying out our purpose. All right. So I want to welcome all of you who get a chance to see this because we are in a different type of energy here today. Those of you that may follow my work and understand, I teach and study Olmec and Mayan cosmology, different ancient civilizations. The key to the reasoning behind the study of the Olmec and the Galactic Maya is their process and familiarity and how they integrated certain calendrical systems, calendrical systems. And I talk about that because I found it fascinating when I first started taking a look at this several years ago, that this particular group, they were able to follow several calendrical systems. Now, some people will say, well, I wonder why someone would want to, or a group of people would want to study several systems. Well, they had a very sophisticated way of thinking in terms of what their mind could access. So they tap more into the extrasensory perception side of their mind and the telepathic mind. And to include, and give you an example, the Dogon tribe of West Africa, they were able to see the stars without telescopes. They were seeing the universe as their mind, and they were able to put these depictions on the walls of their villages and things of that nature. And so nobody could figure out how could you see this? This is long before telescopes were even created. So I got fascinated. Around the same time, several years ago, I had took a look at the movie Lucy, and I was seeing Lucy in terms of what she was able to access at different stages or percentages of her mind that she was able to use, brain percentages. So scientists say that we use about 5 to 10% of our brain power, our actual brain power consciously, and that we could use more, we could access more. But a lot of programs or things that are programmed into our mind become very prominent and prevalent. Okay? And so with that being the case, just think about it. What would happen, right, if you were able to use, as they say, 5 to 10% of your brain? What about 15 to 20% of your brain? Whales and dolphins are said that they have like a sonar type mind where they're able to really telepathically send messages that are very strong signals. So what if we were able to get ourselves to evolve to the point that we were operating with 10% of our mind? Now, this is a key thing, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying, because the programs that we watch, the programs that we scroll through, right? They are the opposite of you evolving your brain. They're doing the thinking for you. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with a portion of your energy directed to that. But if the majority of your energy is directed towards that, then instead of you expanding and evolving your mind to that 20% and having a sonar brain, your brain is going to atrophy. It's going to go down to based on the limited usage, to a lesser level. Okay, so what we find, and I bring that up because we find that there is a divide, the digital divide is causing a conflict between the artificial technology that we use and many depend on, and the natural mind processes that help us to evolve. Okay, now I'm doing this session live. I want everybody to really tap into this. I want you to share this with other people, because we don't even know the subtlety of what's taking place with this AI. On one hand, we want to advance our mind, but we think advancing our mind is how fast we can acquire information. So you will find that we are moving from the information age, right, which is limiting us, right, to the telepathic age. And in the telepathic age, there's knowledge, applied knowledge and intelligence, cosmic intelligence that helps activate this mind beyond the physical body, beyond the planetary mind of the planet, beyond the solar system. And so when we come into contact with that and we're congruent with those angles, let me tell you what happened. We tap into something called the infinite mind wave. And with that, there's unlimited levels of consciousness that we can access. Now, why is that important? Because just think about, we're limited to what we can access with artificial intelligence. We're limited, right? And we're only going to become more limited because we're not going to exercise the critical thinking factors of our brain. So why is right now it's fun. Oh, I can tell ChatGPT and different AI platforms to do X, Y, Z, build me a website in under 60 seconds. I can do all these things, start 7 businesses in one day, all this kind of stuff, right? It's great for now until the changes are made. Now, the only problem that I see with that is great that we can do 7 businesses in one day. It's great that we can do a website in under 2 or 3 minutes, right? But the problem is we're not the owner operator of this AI. So when it changes, now we are in a position where we got to be subservient to whoever is the source and the creator of the AI, right? And so we have a more powerful source in us. It's called the self, right? It's called the unlimited power in us. And we can tap into that source. And it taps into absolute intelligence, not artificial. See, artificial is a branch of absolute. You see? And so we can use both of these worlds to manifest on the material plane. But oftentimes we are programmatic and we move all of our eggs into one basket, and now we're at the mercy of that particular experience. So we have to be careful. So, right? So this conversation is giving you an idea about what we're tapping into in the artificial technology, right, AI, and what we can tap into through natural time and absolute intelligence, so we can access the 100 plus. Did you know that there are some scientists and people are saying that we have over 100 plus million years that this brain can process and our mind can access? 100 million plus. The plus means that there's more than that. And so the question and the quest that I'm on is, how do we tap in? How much are we tapping into right now? I don't think we're tapping into as a species, as a human species, very much, because AI is doing all the work. The little a, little I, the artificial intelligence is doing all the work, right? Now, I think it should do some work, but not all the work. So let's just say we're using 1 million years of memory. Do you know that that's only 1 millionth of what we have to tap into? So the reason why this conversation is happening today, I want to urge some of you are going to hear me from the ear in your heart, what I'm saying to you, that we need to tap into that. And that's something that we have complete control over. We the owner operator of what? This body. We are the God over our body, and we control the destiny and fate of our being in this physical reality. And if you can subscribe to that, now if you can, I'll help you with your understanding so you can. Now you put yourself in a whole realm of unlimited possibilities, and now you access the intelligence of yourself, right? The fifth dimensional being, the energetic light body, we call it the rainbow body, that is plugged into the omnipotent and omnipresent mind. Now, just understand something here. The omnipotent and omnipresent mind is what we call static energy. It's static. It's there for you. But the way you activate it is through your thinking. And your thinking makes it a dynamic expression. The dynamism of it helps you take the omnipresent and omnipotent mind and create anything that you want on the physical world. Now, you can just look around and see what's been built and different things like that. And that's not limited to who built it. You can build whatever as well. But I want us to explore that aspect of our beingness so that we can now be something that we hadn't been on the planet. Let me tell you what it is. Now we are self-governed. We're practicing self-governance. We're not looking for a government to give us rights. What rights do you need to have when you know your innate power? The rights, the rights are for the powerless. And so you have to determine within yourself, am I going to subscribe to being powerless in the midst of government and different changing regimes and things of that nature? Or am I going to tap into this unlimited part of myself? And you know what? The governmental, the entities that govern the human mental processes say that we don't got to worry about them governing them because they're ungovernable. You see, we don't need now. They may say they can be a threat, but there's nothing that anybody can do about it because nobody can stop you from thinking what you want to think once you understand correct thinking. Okay, so when we enter the stream of dynamism, the dynamic mind, that means what we think about is created in terms of our circumstances. And I want to explore that on this day because the title of our session is Exploring the Promised Land. And so a lot of us look at that in its literal sense, but I like to look at it in its esoteric sense, right? That the promised land, the promise, right? The prize is not the physical land that you need to occupy. It's the land that you need to occupy is you need to take possession of your whole mind. What does that mean? What does that look like? That you are an independent thinker, that you're independent of the good opinions from friends, family, governmental agencies, politics, and all this kind of stuff. That you are tapping in to the universal law. That you're tapping into cosmic intelligence, the intelligence that created and has unfolded the cosmos in so many multiverses, galaxies, and different dimensions. And even into your dimension. So now how can you tap into this cosmic intelligence and access parts of your brain and your mind that makes you ungovernable? See, the promised land, exploring the promised land and taking possession of the land is the mind, the fertile mind that you have access to, that you can turn from its static state into its dynamic state. And in its dynamic state, you're able to create from an ideal or your imagination into something that materializes on this physical gravitational plane. And you don't need permission to do it. You don't need somebody to give you rights to do it. You don't need for someone to nurture you into doing it. It is part of your memory and it's part of your etheric being, which is one of the three dynamic aspects of yourself, to help you co-create on this physical plane. And I honor the beloved Martin Luther King for bringing us into this years ago. This is also Martin Luther King Day. You know, no matter what your thoughts are about it, we find the synchronicities in everything. And a lot of the things that he was talking about, especially in his later days, he was getting very radical about what was happening in terms of this integration. And so we were integrating our mind and our bodies into a system that was not designed for us to win. In fact, it ain't designed for nobody to win, really. It's a system of control, right? And so he was fearing that we were integrating into a burning house, into a system that was not designed for us to live. Let me tell you what we need to integrate today. We need to integrate these concepts of the cosmic law, the cosmic intelligence. We need to integrate our whole mind concepts and self-governance and us being able to regulate, to self-regulate our own beingness into different octaves of brain and mind usage. So now become the dolphin. You know how you become 20% mind? As you study it and you practice it and you remember it and you become it. But what about if we can go to 30%? See, that movie Lucy did something to me years ago, because it made me think that it was possible to use more of my mind than I was using back then and today. And because of that, I want to take possession of my mind so I can be more, know more, do more, and have more in that order. It's a state of beingness. And you don't need anything or anybody to regulate what that state is, because they're just going to place a limitation on you. If I'm telling you got unlimited power, then that means that somebody who's going to describe what your capabilities are is going to limit you. Right? So let's strive to 20% and see what happens on the planet in terms of how we live in. Let's strive for 30% after that. 40, 50, 60%, and let's see how much we can become the etheric body, the God, the galactic ordering dynamic in the body while we're present carrying out our purpose on this planet. And if this is making sense to you, then we definitely need to talk one-on-one so I can show you better than I can tell you how this process of order works. It's time to do something different. And in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King and what he was trying to get us to see, and what I was trying to get us to unify and get civil rights, I want you to access universal law. I want you to access, right, cosmic intelligence. And when you access these degrees, you don't need the right to do something when you have the power to override systems that are not designed for you to advance. Wouldn't it be intelligent to acquire this type of mind that believes and knows that it doesn't need a system that overrides that? It is the system, the cosmos of its own intelligence, and can self-govern, self-regulate, and now bond with others who do the same. Because there's something called karma that we have to deal with if we don't properly do this the correct way. I want to play a quick video of Dr. Martin Luther King. All right? And I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to share one other video, and then I'm going to wrap up with this session. So let's go ahead and watch just a brief video of Dr. Martin Luther King in one of his speeches, a clip of one of his speeches, and I'm going to come right back up here and we'll see the second.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. So just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
This is a CBS News special report.
Dan Rather reporting for CBS News from New York. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was shot to death by an assassin late today as he stood on a balcony in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. King had planned to lead another civil rights march in Memphis next Monday.
Give thanks for that speech and the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King. And that's something that can't be shot or killed. But in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, let's talk about that mountaintop. You see, and so I want to share something that's so powerful, that when you put your purpose and we put our ability to advance spiritually and mentally in the hands of someone else, we can't help but to be limited. But he said he went to the mountaintop. He went to a state of higher consciousness and could see the promised land. And in the promised land, it's the levels of consciousness that we can attain through our journey of remembrance of who we are on an innate spiritual and energetic level. To know that we can access something so dynamic, that we can practice something so dynamic, and access something that's so powerful that we can change ourselves and change the experience that we are allowing ourselves to be in this particular reality. And so something that I want to point out, even though I say this, there's still a lot of challenges today. There's still the discrepancies that we have with governmental officials. There's still the experiences that we're having with conflicts and civil war type initiatives in several countries. And as that is important to a degree because of the instability it can create for all of us to live our lives freely. I also like the end of speech talking about the freedom, that there's free speech, that there's also the free ability to think. There's also the free ability to focus on what we think. So even though these things are available to us, we still seem to suffer at the hands of other people's opinions and their jurisdictions over our minds. And so we want to release that today. So not only can we have a better experience, but we can create a whole better experience for all the species on the planet. I'm going to show the second video just to touch on some of the things that are taking place today, especially with the melanated people, the darker people on the planet. Let's roll the second video, and I'll be right back in about 2 to 3
In Washington, D.C., the Trump administration put federal employees in diversity, equity, and inclusion roles on paid leave and ordered those programs to be shut down. In a separate order, the administration moved to limit diversity preferences in federal contracting.
Donald Trump's budget kills a lot of low-income programs, also programs helping rural hospitals and others. Deep cuts to food stamps, welfare, other programs, and guess what? The richest will also benefit from this budget. But more importantly, it targets programs that have helped African-American businesses as well as HBCUs. The budget would eliminate the nearly 50-year-old Minority Business Development Agency. The program is run out of the Department of Commerce. It is the only federal agency established solely to create jobs through the growth of minority-owned businesses in the U.S. I thought he wanted to be the job creator.
We're here in court for a hearing in our ongoing lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's unlawful attacks on the Head Start program. Head Start is vital to children and families across the country, providing early educational services to communities who need it the most. We're urging the court to find that Trump's attacks on the program are illegal under the Constitution and the Head Start Act and must be blocked now.
The Trump administration sent pre-K programs a 6-page list of words that they are forbidden from using when describing themselves, or else they will lose public funding. Among the hundreds of apparently dangerous banned words, race, accessible, disability, Gulf of Mexico, minority, trauma, tribal, belong, and women.
The Supreme Court is saying that these affirmative action programs, particularly at Harvard and UNC, but this will affect all colleges and universities, they say that affirmative action violates the Equal Protection Clause. So that essentially means that colleges and universities will no longer be able to consider race as a factor in admissions.
Food aid in the United States is about to be slashed at a time when experts say it's needed more than ever. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is facing the largest funding cut in the program's history. Here are 4 things to know about changes coming to the program and what it can mean for those reliant on the benefits. 1. President Donald Trump's Big Beautiful policy and spending legislation will cut $186 billion in federal funding from the program over the next decade.
We shut down this evening to scrub them of DEI content. Can you confirm whether that's accurate and if there are any concerns?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. DEI would have ruined our country, and now it's dead. I think DEI is dead, so if they want to scrub the websites, that's okay with me.
Since being reelected, President Donald Trump has been on the mission to terminate diversity, equity, and inclusion offices, positions, and programs in the federal government. Recently, more people have noticed that Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, and other public holidays like Juneteenth or Holocaust Remembrance Day are missing from Google Calendar.
It is still ultimately our responsibility to continue to pass on our legacy, pass on our history, the accurate message of our history.
Wow. All these changes. And so many people are concerned about all the cuts, and I understand why. We've been dependent on a system for hundreds of years that has not been designed for us to win. And so all I'm saying, whether you agree or disagree with the cuts or whatever your position is, I want to impress something upon you. How about relying on yourself? Now, when I talk about yourself, I'm talking about the power of God as a form of intelligence to show you that your mission on this planet is much bigger than what a government or a school system or anything tells you that you have access to and can do. And in honor of whatever programs that have been cut, let's not cut ourselves off or cut us off from ourselves that has given us the ley lines to help us and feed us and accessing something so advanced and something that's so simple that we could supersede and create systems so far advanced and so sophisticated beyond what we've been receiving in terms of crumbs and scraps, that it's something that is beyond the physical. If we just stop at the physical, we're not going to be able to do it. But I'm talking about this because I know that many of our minds are caught up in these circumstances. What's going on with ICE and their raids around the country? What's going on with SNAP benefits? What's going on? Oh my God, they're taking away this and they're taking away that. But what they haven't taken away from you is the most valuable thing that you have. And that is the power of how you can think and take the omnipresent, omnipotent mind through your imagination into a dynamic state and create a whole different vision that turns into your reality on this physical plane. And I'm telling you, it starts with you being able to realize that it's possible for you to access this kind of intelligence. Imagine if we focus more on being able to access this intelligence that I'm talking about. Well, where do you find it, Nev Target? You find it within yourself. It's called getting quiet and allowing your intuition to guide you. One of the terms that I use is follow the synchronicities, and it will guide you. And the problem, one of the big problems, is one of the 5 virtues, patience, that we talk about. But we don't have the patience to clear up and unlearn and unblock what allows us to access the intelligence beyond the body and beyond the planet, so that we can receive those downloads and let it guide us into focusing in such a way that we can create a new reality for ourselves. We start individually, right? We start individually with being able to say, hey, this is how I'm going to respond to these type of things, and this is how I'm going to give no energy to nothing negative. I want you to try it for the next 30 days. We need to have, those of you that are watching this, we need to have a discussion on this. But the discussion doesn't need to be what we can't do. It needs to be what we can do. Because the more that we focus on what can't happen and what ain't happening, the more it's a distraction from our own evolution. And believe me, there are some people that's just not available for these events that are taking place on the planet. We're just not available for it. It doesn't mean it ain't happening. In your holographic universe, it may be happening, and it may be frightening, and the program of scarcity may be running rampant in your mind. But I'm telling you that there is also a program of abundance that can run rampant in your mind. And I'm saying that if you realize that you're on the program of scarcity, and you become aware of the program of abundance, and you become aware of this cosmic intelligence that I need to look into it. I'm saying switch your focus long enough to see how you can advance yourself and experience something different on the planet and help others to do the same. But the more you look outside of yourself, in my humble opinion, it's going to be more of the programs that you are experiencing on social media that lead you to a way of thinking that limits you so much that you'll never be able to come up and out into your purpose, your galactic purpose on Earth. And so today is kin number 41 on the Zolkin calendar. Of course, I told you I led with we study and teach Olmec and Mayan cosmology, right? And so we are on kin number 41. Now, kin is an expression of the Creator. There's 260 expressions of the Creator. This is the 41st expression of the Creator to be activated in our mind to help us evolve past the current circumstances and conditions that we're living in. Okay? All of these kin expressions do that. And we were all born on a kin expression. Like I was born on the 239th expression. And my affirmation, and I did just think about how powerful this is for a second. This is different, but it's so powerful. My affirmation for kin 239, the blue overtone storm, also known as the world changer. states, I empower in order to catalyze. Now that could be me or several people or the world or galaxies, commanding energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation. So the gene rations of the self, the unlimited power of God in me, is the focus. So I seal the matrix of self-generation with the overtone tone of radiance. I have a saying that your radiance dissolves any frequencies that's not aligned with your evolution and your divine purpose. Right? I'm guided by the power of accomplishment. And if all I do is focus on that, guess what? I'm going to accomplish. The question is, what do I want to accomplish? You too have an affirmation that could lead you into your galactic purpose on Earth and focus on something different than what's being on these videos and what's in social media and what our policy changes. Policies changes only affects those who are not self-empowered. Because we all here and we all can make choices if we choose. It just seems like we can't. The illusions are so strong and so intense. And I am a galactic activation portal back into my memory as an etheric being, right? In order to catalyze commanding energy, self-generation, radiance, and accomplishment into me. That's the affirmation. Now, you may or may not subscribe to the intelligence that comes with following the Olmec and Mayan cosmology. But let me tell you what it can do. It can unlock your mind and refocus you from a world of limitation and victimhood into what we call self, right? Being able to, when we tap into the self, right? There's something called self-acceptance. And so to the person that thinks the power is out in the government, that the power is outside of them in this group or that group, then you're going to be a victim of circumstance. But if you see self-acceptance that way, you got to just accept everything that this way, and I'm just a poor old rich, and I'm this and I'm that. Or you can step into the marvelous light and say, I am the source and I am the creator of my earthly experience. Let's try that one. I am the source and I am the creator of my own experience. That means that whatever happens on this planet, well, in my holographic world, I'm responsible for what happens, not just what I do. That's a state of being. That's a state of being that's very different than being the human doer that's mechanical and that is programmed. It's very programmatic in our physical state. I am the source. I am the creator of my own experience. And so what tools do I need to evolve into that? And let's see what life is like when I start to tap into that. And we can now take on the promise of Dr. Martin Luther King and carry on the unity with uniting with ourselves first, the heart and the mind, because the war starts within. And then you see the war without. It starts within, and then it starts without. And so collectively, as we get aligned, we start to change the consciousness on the planet. We start to change what we experience on the planet. And now is the time to do something different. And stop complaining about these governments. Stop complaining about these cuts with these programs and start getting ourselves focused on building a new me and a new you so we can go to heights unseen. We haven't tried evolution yet. We've done revolution and we've done all these different things. And I'm telling you, it's time to evolve, because the one thing that I see that's synonymous with everything is evolution is the solution. Now I dare you to contact me. about this, because I know what I know after a decade of doing this and going through this situation and that situation. I know something that's not being taught in these schools. I know something that's not being shown in these churches and mosques and etc. And I want to share with you something that I know will take you to heights unseen. But you got to put your ego on the shelf. And you got to understand that there's something that we're missing, because we came here from the etheric realm into this physical realm, so something far greater than just to pay some bills or be a part of some policy or be a part of some programs that are added to a cut. We came here with unlimited potential, and now it's time to start living like that. Only a few of us is going to probably take what I say serious and still suffer with somebody else orchestrating our life. But it's okay. The few of you that do, I want to lock arms with you, and I want to effectuate change. I want to be companions of destiny with you. I want to love with you. I want to show empathy with you and access parts of ourselves that we have yet to access, and nobody can tell me who listens to this that we've come close to accessing all 100+ million years in our memories of consciousness that's designed to override all of this, that's designed to even show you how to disappear and time travel and all kind of different things we don't want to accept. We just want to watch it in the movies. Well, let's see if we can live it. And I'm telling you that we can. We can. Not just explore the promised land, but we can possess it. And that land is your mind. And your mind and your brain are separate. The brain, right, and this neurological activity has the ability to process what happens in the mind, which is all that you see around you is part of your mind. Everything that's happening in space is part of your mind. Everything that unfolds and unfolds in the cosmos and the universe is part of your mind, and you have access to it if we understand the synchronic order and the nature of its being and how nature unfolds and unfolds throughout the galaxies and on this planet. It is our nature to evolve. And the sooner that we discover that, the sooner that we can live that dream and go to the mountaintop of consciousness and live a life that we only thought we could dream of. But now you see the power that you can turn it into your reality. My name is Neb Taharka Kanishkawak, and it's been a pleasure sharing this wonderful message with you. DM me, email me. You can email me at profcosby811@gmail.com. We'll go ahead and put that in chat. And let's have a conversation about evolution. We're united on one premise: to evolve. And the more we keep evolving, the more our circumstances get smaller and smaller and smaller. And those of you that that's making sense to, I'd like us to get together and see what life is like on those premises. And so I would say, on behalf of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment and all of its faculties and staff and all of the students that have came through and will come through, I thank you for listening to this. And I would say, in Lakesh means I am another you. Alakin means you are another me. Hotep, Hetepu, and Namaste. And remember, evolution is the solution. Thank you for joining us on this Sync Talk. Enjoy your creation. It is what you create. And let's get together and advance ourselves in a rapid fashion. ASAP. Enjoy your creation. Peace.